Hello, my name is Richard Averitt, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Starchive. And yep, that's a picture of me threading a fishing hook. Anyway, I wanted to start here because we've been talking in this deck about data, and I want to help you understand what it looks like to have a file inside Starchive and what's so different about it. So first off, in Starchive, you dump in the highest resolution content you've got. We always want you connected to that original source content because you never know when you need to go back to the original for the highest fidelity for a new project. You put that in 4K, 8K film, whatever you've got, and we're going to give you back a thumbnail and a web-enabled preview. In the future, we'll be able to give you all kinds of derivatives on demand because we've built in a transformation engine, but we'll save that for another conversation. Right now, what you can see here is you can see an image on the left and data on the right. And you'll notice their first top category here is called tags. These are human tags. So these are words that a human might add to describe something that otherwise wouldn't be obvious in the image. In this case, you can see Maui Jim for a hat and sunglasses I'm wearing, and Quetico, which is the place where I was fishing. Now, you can add human tags super simple like this. Please delete. And you can notice I've got please delete me already in here because I've done this before. We'll save that. But you'll notice what happens is it goes into the tags and it becomes a link. And that's so that if you were to click on one of these, like let's click on orange bag, you'll notice immediately the platform jumps over and shows us all of the other files tagged by a human with the tag orange bag. But if we go back to the file itself, it's a single file with a single data record. Next, you can see we've got auto tags. So this is a little bit of AI doing the work. So it's looking at every thumbnail and it's applying some tags to those, and I'll show you how that gets particularly valuable later. But again, these are links. So if we were to click one that said cap, we would go over here and see everything that the computer or AI has tagged with the word cap. And we'll scroll down and here's the image we started with. We'll go back to it. Then you'll notice there's a description category. You could fill in a long description here if you like, a whole paragraph or some notes about a file. One thing I should mention about auto tags, while we're showing you this simple object recognition, Starchive is capable of plugging into any API addressable AI platform out there and a whole string of them for that matter, and bring back the data inside the application so that you can make it usable and searchable. You notice here we've got a thing called collections. Now collections are sort of the anti-folder, where one file can only belong to one folder without copying it. This is a little bit like an alias. We're applying data records to identify groups of assets based on that record, much like tags. So if I was to click, for example, Tepui photo pictures, we'll jump into a group of assets there that were put together for that project. And if we were to go back and click for Morgan, you'll notice we get a different group of assets here, right? There we go. Let's say we found this file though, and we realized, I'm not actually looking for that picture, but I'll bet that the picture I'm looking for is adjacent to it. Maybe it's in the same shoot or the same folder. Well, here we've got a folder path that was uploaded when a top level folder was dropped and dragged into Starchive. And if we jumped here, you see we'll go all the way into the destination folder. And again, we find a new group of assets inside that folder. Same file, same data record. We're going to scroll down below here. There's a category called custom fields I'll show you later, but let me show you this other probed metadata. Probed metadata is all the stuff that's already embedded in the file record. Starchive searches about 15,000 of these possible data values and then surfaces them and makes them searchable as well. So you can see we've got meters above sea level, we've got focal length, we've got GPS latitudes and longitudes that can be converted to locations, we've got time stamps, we've got all kinds of stuff embedded in this file record that we're going to bring out. And Starchive makes all of that available to you so that you can find the signal and the noise in the moment you're looking for it. I'll show you an example in search in a moment for how that manifests. So let's get out of this particular file here, and I'm going to want to show you some smart contract data as well and NFTs. So let's jump into a category called NFTs, and you'll notice we've just got one here. Let's go over here and connect my wallet, and we'll import them while we're showing you a couple of search experiences. So let's go to MetaMask. We'll connect to MetaMask. All right. And now you'll notice it has an import files button. I'm going to import. It's going to give me a little notice explaining what's going on. I'm going to start importing now. And while that's working, let me go back and show you this example of how all this data helps you in the real world. So I started out my career as a photographer, and I occasionally get calls from art directors still asking me for content. And about a year ago, I got a call from a friend who said, hey, I'm looking for a picture that makes me feel sort of lonely or depression for an article I'm working on, and I need some room at the top and some room at the left. And I knew intuitively some photos I wanted to show her. But if we go over here to folders, which is the way we're used to having to search, right? I have no idea where that picture is. And imagine that you have a folder built out that looks like this, with literally thousands and thousands of folders, most of which got created by dragging and dropping a top-level folder into our upload window here and allowing all of that content to recreate itself in its hierarchy inside the system. So that's not going to help me, but I do remember a couple of things about these pictures, right? I can imagine them. So let's start by searching on swing, because the picture I'm looking for is a picture of a swing. And because search is a blunt instrument, you're going to see that we find images of swings, and those show up because the AI has tagged them swing. But we also have songs with the word swinging in it. Like here, we've got Swinging Shepherd Blues. In any case, we haven't yet got to the pictures I'm looking for, but we went from 150,000 files down to 391 with one word. We're getting close. So I also used a little app to make this picture called Hipstamatic. It's a little photo app. Whoops, I can't type. Hipstamatic. So let's use that and look. With 2 words and 10 seconds, I find exactly the images I want to show this art director friend of mine. And I could, by the way, immediately share all of these files with her if I want. And I'll show you that in a share link in just a moment. Here we go right here, right? So you'll notice it has 9 files selected. I have choices to create a new collection, download them, tag them, move them. But in this case, we want to share. Maybe I'm going to give her the opportunity to download them. I could set a password, but I won't do that for now. And let's just open up a new browser. There we go. Now you see, this is what my art director friend gets on the other end. And she can go through all of these images just like this. Now, how did it find those files with that second word, Hipstamatic? Well, look down here. In this probed data, there's an area called IFDO make. Right here, Hipstamatic. So you see, Starchive is digging out all of this data that's embedded in the file, all of the data that AI can add and help us with, and the human data we add, and we're layering it together to help you get the signal and the noise and build these auto curations for you in the moment, right? So for example, if we clicked on auto tags over here, you'll notice I've got more than 2,000 individual auto tags, and you can see them all in these different frames, right? These collections that are auto curated, right? And so if we wanted, for example, to explore these, we could see them perhaps as a list would be easier. And let's say we scroll down in here and we click on something like waterfront. And you'll notice we've got 750 files that the AI has tagged waterfront. Now you're getting a sense of how this works. So by now our NFTs should be in here. Let's go back and look at NFTs and smart contract data. So look at this. Here we've got some NFTs now inside the platform. And let's quickly go to one like this Nerds one. So look at this. We've got some auto tags. The AI has tagged this human and person. You'll notice down here, though, we have all this data. We've imported the contract address, the traits. It's a gender, male, token name, nuclear nerds, eyes, deadpan eyes, etc., token ID. We even have a long description that came with the project here. So what you're realizing is that Starchive, by design, can grab any file and any data record associated with that file and replicate that content inside the application. If we look at a different NFT, you'll notice we're going to get a very different data architecture in those NFT details. We don't have a description. We do have a lot of different traits, and these traits are represented by ranks. And you'll notice Starchive still represents that content in the same way. So it doesn't matter what those fields and values are. It's looking for them, adding them to the data table, and relating them. So that's enough about the core concept of how data helps you inside Starchive in a way no other application does today. I'll show you one more thing before we go. I want to show you the power of sharing. Because we talked about how Starchive is going to allow you to put in its highest resolution content and then turn that into web-enabled previews so that you can easily work with that content. So this particular share group here is 250 video files or thereabouts. Let's say you're going to be allowed to download them. And we'll grab this link, jump up here, paste it into our browser, and look at this. In an instant, this is more than almost 32 gigabytes of content. Remember, the biggest video you can share in email is 25 megs. Check this out. These are going to stream in real time. If we start clicking on these assets, you'll notice instantly they start playing. And they do that because we're not moving any of these files so that you can see them, right? We're making it possible for you to access a group of assets in the moment. You can then have the ability to download one of these files or all of these files depending on what permissions you've got. So that's just a quick preview of how Starchive works. To give you a sense of it, we'll let you get back to the deck, and we hope that you find this as exciting as we do. Thanks so much.